It's another Saturday night in the SEC. Tonight, Kentucky's stable of running back looks to sprint past the Bulldogs and stay in the hunt for an SEC East title. Snell, touchdown Wildcats! Georgia hopes to get its offense back on track and extend its win streak in the series versus Kentucky to 7 games. Breaks another tackle. What a run by Nick Chubb! It's an SEC Saturday night.
You are looking live at Commonwealth Stadium in Lexington, Kentucky. Believe it or not, this Wildcat football team has put the basketball season on hold here in Bluegrass country. The Cats have won 3 SEC games in a row, and the East standings tonight tell a remarkable tale. Florida was beaten by Arkansas, so Kentucky is competing now for a trip to the championship game. Georgia, on the other hand, badly needs a victory just to stop the bleeding. Good evening and welcome, everybody. I'm Brett Musburn, my partner, Jesse Palmer, Kaylee Hartung down below. Jess, we were in Lexington in September.
Yeah.
Little bit different buzz tonight, my friend.
This is a very confident football team. They've won 5 of their last 6. The only loss in that stretch to Alabama. And you're right, Brent. Completely different team than the one we saw play South Carolina back in September. Now, they've made a couple changes on offense. They've gone to Steven Johnson at quarterback since week 3. He's given them a chance. We've also seen an added wrinkle on offense, a lot more Wildcat formations, really helped the running game. And on defense, since head coach Mark Stoops took over week 3, there's so much more sound on that side of the football. So they've got some swagger. They've lost 6 in a row to Georgia, but they think they can win tonight, become bowl eligible for the first time in the Mark Stoops era. And with that loss by Florida, you're right, they are right in the hunt for the SEC East.
Speaking of swagger, they're ready to bring him on. Well, Jess, you mentioned it, but let's talk about the heart and soul of this Wildcat team, those running backs.
Yeah, they've got a new identity on offense. It's the Wildcat formation. It's a new wrinkle by offensive coordinator Eddie Grant, and it's looked really, really good. He's got some good running backs back there in the shotgun running this Wildcat. You start with Boom Williams. He's one of the fastest running backs in all of college football. He gets into the second level, he's gone. He's averaging 7.5 yards a carry right now. What about Benny Snell, the fantastic true freshman, 220 pounds, very physical runner between the tackles, leads the team with 8 rushing touchdowns right now, and they're running behind an offensive line that's played so well now in the last couple of weeks. In their 3-game win streak, they're rushing for an average of 299 yards a game. It's going to be a big challenge for Georgia to slow that down tonight.
You mentioned the Wildcat formation. For more on it, let's go down below to Kaylee.
Well, Brent, you and Jesse should be on the lookout for that Wildcat formation early. Offensive coordinator Eddie Grant telling me they'll show it to Georgia early because they want to see how they react. Are they blitzing? Are they in zero coverage? Are they covering down on the quarterback? Once Kentucky sees how Georgia reacts, that can then allow them to add more wrinkles to it, to show us all something that we haven't seen. Now, Jesse mentioned Benny Snell and Boom Williams, but don't forget about JoJo Kemp, a third option. Eddie Grant telling me they'll go with who's got the hot hand.
Let's change the subject to Georgia. What's gone wrong with the Bulldogs?
They started 3-0. They've lost 4 of their last 5. I think the biggest issue the Bulldogs have had, inconsistency running the football on offense. The offensive line hasn't been great last couple weeks. They're not physical enough. They're not getting enough push up front. In their last game against Florida, they completely abandoned the run game, only ran it 15 times. That can't happen tonight. Tonight, the Bulldogs have to commit to the running game because the strength of their team is their running backs. Guys like Nick Chubb and Sony Michel, they're dynamic playmakers that get better the more you give them the football. So I think tonight, offensive coordinator Jim Chaney, he's got to dial up the run, keep giving these guys handoffs, get them involved early and often. Remember, Georgia's a 4-4 team right now, and if they want to become bowl eligible, they got to get back to doing what they do, running the ball, and it's got to start tonight.
Badette and Harmon, you saw back deep. Badette, wide receiver, number 13. Blankenship will kick it away. We begin one of the biggest games in Lexington, Kentucky in years. From the 3-yard line, out to the 25-yard line.
Kentucky quarterback Steven Johnson started his career at Grambling State, went to JUCO, and I've liked what I've seen from him on tape. He's got a quick release, throws a really good deep ball, also very athletic. You're going to see him in the zone read game tonight. He can scramble. He can avoid a negative play, turn it into a positive. The one thing I'd like to see from Steven Johnson tonight is more consistent accuracy. There have been times these last couple of weeks where he's missed wide open throws in the short to intermediate area. When those open throws present themselves tonight, he's got to make sure he hits them to keep this offense on schedule.
So Benjamin Snell is out there with Boom Williams. They open with both running backs. Johnson is in that pistol, and now they'll motion Williams, an excellent receiver. Come back for the freshman. There's Snell twisting out to about the 28-yard line.
No doubt, Kentucky going to come running the football, and this is a great challenge for this Kentucky offensive line because I think Georgia's front seven is as big and physical as anyone they've seen since playing Alabama.
You can see that Snell came out to the sideline. And they come now with Boom Williams, his first carry of the night. So both of their ace running backs handle the ball. And the first two players of the game, as you see the starting lineup, Boom Williams, of course, will come in and out. Keep an eye on Dorian Baker. Made an impact last week for the first time this season. 4 catches, 48 yards. They may try to take the top off with him. Williams needs 3 yards here. Goes deep down, incomplete, and that was excellent coverage by Sanders, the safety coming over to make the play.
Yeah, really nice job closing on that by Sanders. They're trying to hit Jeff Badette on a little corner route, and a good start for this Georgia defense. Remember, the Georgia defense has not been the issue, certainly in the second half of the season. Nice range by Dominic Sanders. He's playing a little bit banged up right now.
So Isaiah McKenzie, we'll see him for the first time. Freshman Grant McInnes back in punt formation. And punting has been an issue for both of these teams this year. McKenzie runs up to the 35-yard line and is hammered immediately. That was Cash Daniel, a freshman linebacker, making the stop. So here's Jacob Eason.
Yeah, you can see why he was the #1 rated quarterback coming out of high school. 6'5", 235 pounds. Good athlete for a guy that size, but he's got fantastic arm strength and a lot of confidence in that arm. To take shots deep down the field, try and force the football into smaller windows. His deep ball accuracy has not been great this year, and I think that has to get better. He's going to have some opportunities to push it downfield tonight. It's got to be more accurate.
Nick Chubb, he's behind Eason. Carry #1. Chubb told the coaches this week that he's more comfortable the more he carries the ball in a game with Josh Allen making that stop. So you can see Nick is in there. Sony Michel, of course, will also see a lot of action. That offensive line has been together. They've started every game this season, but they had some difficulty against the Gator defensive front a week ago. Here's 2nd down and 8. Coming right back to the left side and very close to a first time. So defensively, Chris Westry, one of their tall defensive backs, is back there. Great size. Number 29, Batty, also. So the corners have played very well this year for the Wildcats. And here is 3rd down and short. They put a fullback in, Christian Payne, as a lead blocker. The Dogs hammer with Chubb for the first down, and he breaks inside the 40-yard line. So they feed him 3 consecutive times, and they wind up with good yardage.
One of the things I love about Nick Chubb is the burst he has. For a guy that's 5'11", 230 pounds, the hole's not there on the inside. He's just got that quick 5-yard explosion to get outside and start breaking tackles. And you're right, Brent, when they get him into a lather, he gets better as the game goes on.
Gained 18 yards on that run, 27 total, and now Michelle gives him a breather. There's the handoff to #1, thrown for a loss. And that's Adrian Middleton, the defensive lineman of last week for Kentucky, making an impact early.
I think the big challenge for Kentucky tonight is going to be consistent run defense. Look at Middleton just swim the guard and get into the backfield. You mentioned it, SEC D lineman of the week, big game against Missouri. But there's no mystery. They know that Nick Chubb and Sony Michel are going to get force-fed in this one. They're not a very deep D line, so can they continually make plays and be tough up front for 4 quarters?
Michel is the running back. His first pass of the game is too high. Jesse, that seems to be his problem when he misses. We've seen it before. The ball sails high.
Yeah, he kind of can overstride at times, which leads to those high throws. Now setting up a 3rd and long situation. We've talked about how this offensive line has had some struggles run blocking in recent weeks. They've had struggles all year as well, pass protecting. And Kentucky's got 2 good edge rushers and outside linebackers, Denzel Ware and Josh Allen. The tackles have to be very good here on the road in a noisy environment.
3rd down. Four receivers split out. Quick throw to Isaiah McKenzie on the move. 15-10, end zone, touchdown. Isaiah McKenzie struck from that right slot. They got it to him in space, and he did the rest with his burst.
Yeah, Kentucky brought a blitz, and they actually dropped out their defensive end, Josh Allen, into coverage. And Josh Allen was in the area near where McKenzie caught the pass, but it was just a very quick throw, very accurate throw. You see the speed that Isaiah McKenzie brings this offense. He is electrifying, not just catching the ball, but we'll find out later as well in the return game too.
So here is Rodrigo Blankenship. Tacks on the extra point. Georgia strikes first. Isaiah McKenzie from Jacob Eason. A 38-yard touchdown on 3rd and 11. Dogs on the board.
Well, losing 4 of the last 5, he told us yesterday, this team needed juice. They needed positive energy. What better way to start this game on the road? You force a 3 and out on defense, your offense goes down the field and scores a touchdown. That'll give you that juice.
Vedette from the 1. Top end speed. And he is tripped down as he was crossing the 20. Throwing the ball on 1st down. And they pick up a dozen yards on it. And that's Garrett Johnson from Winter Garden, Florida.
Nice job on the run pass option. That's supposed to be a run play, but Steven Johnson's keying the linebacker Reggie Carter, who sucked in with the play fake, and that opened up the hole for the slant to Juice Johnson outside.
So back to the Wildcat. We told you at the top of the broadcast, a steady diet of it was coming. And here is Snell. The one wrinkle they haven't shown out of the Wildcat. They've shown that double reverse. Here they come with Vedette. The speedster got to the sideline and to the 37-yard line.
Every week that Eddie Grant's been calling these Wildcat plays, he's been adding a new wrinkle. You got the quarterback, Steven Johnson, in motion. You give him the jet. Now he flips it to Jeff Vedette on the reverse. They haven't shown that yet, but yet another creative way to use Jeff Vedette's speed. We saw him on a jet sweep earlier, and now a reverse out of the Wildcat.
So Johnson back on the field. A little bit of an option. He keeps it. Faked the handoff to Boom Williams and slid down to the 32. Patrick, the defender.
And Brent, the interesting thing about Kentucky's Wildcat package running the ball, they leave Steven Johnson, the quarterback, on the field. They don't substitute personnel, so as a defense, you don't know when they're going to line up in it.
Johnson this time does hand off, and boom, with that speed. 15, 10, out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. Aaron Davis saves the touchdown.
I think Boom Williams has made huge strides this year running because he's become more patient running between the tackles. He's got great speed. In the past, if holes aren't there right away inside, he's bouncing that outside and trying to hit the track. These last couple of weeks, I've watched him do a great job of staying patient, let holes open up. See right there, looks like he just stepped out of bounds. It looked to me too, Brent, like he hit his head on the turf.
First down and goal. Here comes the freshman. Powering, pulling, touchdown Kentucky. His 9th touchdown of the season.
Just see the power this young true freshman possesses, his ability to break tackles. They got 2 great blocks by their tight ends, C.J. Conrad and Greg Hart outside. Davin Bellamy doing everything he can to hold on, but he just has the knack for finding the end zone. Been doing that a lot here in the 2016 season.
Austin McGinnis tacks on the extra point in Baton Rouge. Jamal Adams, number 33, the great safety, with an interception on Alabama's opening series. LSU with a great chance. Here in a great SEC East game. We're tied at 7. What a turnaround it's been. And it probably dates from the time that he went to the defense and became more hands-on with his specialty. And I know you were with the other Stoops brothers with Oklahoma the other night.
Yeah, I was calling that Iowa State-Oklahoma game. Had a chance to talk to Bob and Mike Stoops, and they're obviously a really tight group of brothers, and they encouraged him to help take over that defense, and boys, it paid off.
Davis. Good return out to the 29. Back to Nick Chubb. 8 carries for 51 yards. And it took 2 or 3 Kentucky defenders to bring him down. Middleton, that huge defensive lineman, was there in the middle of things. He's become a very good player.
Yeah, he's a hard guy to block with a tight end. That time, Jed Blazevich, 242 pounds, trying to take on a 305-pound Adrian Middleton. And that's a matchup that certainly is going to favor Kentucky throughout the course of this game.
2nd down and 5 for the Dogs. Time runs out on the opening quarter. Georgia, 97 yards of offense, 59 of them rushing, but it was this pass to McKenzie that put them on the scoreboard. For Kentucky, 49 yards of rushing, including that touchdown by Snell. So we start the second quarter. Be a 2nd down for the Georgia offense. They're on the 33-yard line. Nick Chubb, who rushed for 56 yards in the opening quarter, is back in at tailback. And there's the play action from Eason. You knew it was coming, trying to take the top off. And there's a penalty and a great grab by Wims. Javon Wims with a great grab on the pass by Eason, and they do take the top off with play action.
And when you commit to the run and you're having some success, it opens up those play action shot opportunities. And Jacob Eason, who's not been the most accurate deep ball thrower.
Defense number 11. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
A lot of Jacob Eason's deep throws this year, I think he's underthrown the ball. And they've missed some big shot plays. How about Wims at 6'4", stretching out and making the difficult catch with those long arms and an explosive play for the Bulldogs, but it's all because of their ability running the ball early in this game.
The young man from Miami with a 51-yard reception. Eason now in the red zone, and they come back with Chubb trying to get outside on the left, and they surround him and throw him down for a loss of 4. There is Jordan Jones again, number 34, very active.
Kentucky's got a lot of blue jerseys near the line of scrimmage, and Mark Stoops continues to dial up corner and safety blitzes, trying to get an extra hat in the backfield. So it's making it difficult right now for this Georgia offensive line to pick everybody up. I think by throwing the ball a little bit more and mixing that in, it's going to back Kentucky out of these blitz packages.
Michelle checks in. And here is Sony. Slips through and crosses the 15-yard line. Edwards makes the stop.
The guy down here in the red zone, he's really started making plays in recent weeks for Jacob Eason, is his roommate, the true freshman tight end, Isaac Nada. Very, very fast, big target at 6'4", 246 pounds. He's had a lot of opportunities. Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator, has dialed up his number in the red zone here as of late. He's a guy that can split out wide, try and create a mismatch opportunity against slower linebacker or a smaller safety. Looks like he might have that right here.
4 receivers on this 3rd and 8. Eason gets time and hits McKenzie short of the first down. I'm not sure if he had turned right away and headed for the end zone, if he might have gotten the first down on that. We'll take a look at it again, Jess, as Ware makes the stop.
Yeah, you always want to get north-south, and obviously fast guys try to get outside as quick as they can where they think they have green grass. But check out number 35, Denzel Ware. He's the guy that makes the tackle. He plays defensive end and linebacker at 255 pounds, showing off his athleticism, tackling a much quicker receiver.
If he sits down, he might have had a first down on that catch. And when he dipped, that meant Kirby was going to elect to attempt the 25-yard field goal. And from a coaching standpoint, that is the smart thing to do. Put the points on the scoreboard. He would have preferred the touchdown, but he'll take a 10-7 lead here in the first quarter. Here, of course, Georgia leads Kentucky after the field goal, 10-7, and now they will kick it away. Jeff Baudette, the speedster, number 13 from Orlando, Florida's Freedom High School, back deep for the Cats. They'll take it out on the 25, and Steven Johnson checks back over to the sideline, and they're good to go. And he is smoked back at the 17-yard line by David Marshall, one of their very, very impressive freshmen.
Yeah, David Marshall's just going to scream in here. They're trying to block him with a pulling guard. The true freshman just way too explosive and quick coming out of his stance, and he's been a nice surprise for this Georgia defense early. Starting games as a true freshman. You don't see that very often in the SEC.
Losing 6 yards. So they're backed up to the 19-yard line for this second down. Johnson hits Dorian Baker for the first time tonight, and back to just about the original line of scrimmage for this third down.
Now the guy that Kentucky has to be concerned about is Lorenzo Carter. He's the best pass rusher for the Georgia Bulldogs, number 7. He's really come on as of late. Has 3 sacks in his last 3 games, and on third down, they'll move him around. Defensive end, sometimes line him up at linebacker like you see there. Need a plan for number 7.
Johnson sprints out and throws it away. He was put on the run, and that was Lorenzo Carter in pursuit.
It was Lorenzo Carter on the play. He was kind of spying Steven Johnson, the quarterback, just briefly, and as soon as Steven Johnson got outside, Lorenzo Carter was there. They need him. He was kind of the guy that Georgia was expected to replace Leonard Floyd and Jordan Jenkins as the main pass rusher. Kind of got off to a slow start this year, but he's really come on here in the last couple games.
Isaiah McKenzie back to return this McKennis punt. They go after it a little bit. Loose ball. Kentucky falls on it. That was J.D. Harmon, number 11, who pounced on it.
And I'm not sure why Isaiah McKenzie didn't fair catch this. I'm not sure why he even tried to field it, with Harmon bearing down on him as fast as he was. You got the rugby-style punt. Takes a little bit longer to get off, but the good news with that is it allows the coverage team to get down the field.
As number 11 was forced out and came back in immediately to recover the ball. It's first down, Kentucky.
What they're saying there is J.D. Harmon is the guy that recovers it. Now, he goes out of bounds. If he goes out of bounds on his own, he's not allowed to return into the field to play, but because he was blocked out of bounds, he was allowed to come back in and jump on that fumble.
First down and 10 after the turnover for the Wildcats at the 38-yard line. Here's Boom Williams. I gotta say that this offensive line, there's a penalty flag, and it comes a little bit late. So let's get this sorted out.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 6. The 15-yard penalty added on to the end of the run. It's an automatic first down.
That's Patrick.
And I don't really know where the face mask penalty is. I'm watching Patrick on this, but I think he meant Maurice Smith, number 2. That's not number 6. That's the Alabama transfer, number 2, Maurice Smith, grabbing the face mask.
Our cameraman was right on top of it.
He sure was.
He knew who was guilty. And that'll be a first down across the 20-yard line here. Boom, straight ahead, keeps running and battling his way. I'm going to say, Jess, that the most impressive unit that I see here with Kentucky is this offensive line. What an improvement. Mosier is at left tackle. Haynes is the left guard. Toth is the ringleader. He's the center. Stallings and Meadows on that right side. They have given this offense time and daylight.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be a strength coming into the year. They had 4 starters back from last season, and you're right, Brent. These last couple games now, they've been pushing people around.
Second down and 4, and they go to the Wildcat. Williams will stay in. There he comes, stepping to the left. Touchdown, Kentucky! I think many of you noted that Boom Williams right now is running with a little more power as he's been recovering from an early season injury. And here's McGinnis. One thing that has plagued Kentucky all season long, if you follow them, turnovers. One of the sloppiest teams in the country in protecting the football. However, here tonight, as the extra point is added, here tonight, it was a turnover on the punt. A little exchange of words, and the fellas are separated down below, no problem. No harm, no foul. So Boom Williams powers in for the touchdown, and Kentucky leads.
Right now, the Georgia Bulldogs, like a lot of other SEC defenses, have had issues slowing down this Wildcat attack by the Kentucky Wildcats.
So it is kicked away. Reggie Davis at the goal line is coming out. Not very successful. Stopped well short of the 20-yard line. Toss to Michelle. Cutbacks on it. And looks like he gained the first down on that burst as he came around the left side.
This isn't the biggest offensive line the Georgia Bulldogs have, but they are very athletic, and they can run, and they can get on the perimeter. On that play, you saw a lot of linemen pulling, getting outside, getting out in front of Sony Michel. It's a nice mix-up and change-up and a play call by offensive coordinator Jim Chaney.
So it's first down and 10. Swing pass to Michel. Cuts back to daylight. And another good gain by Sony for 11 yards.
I like the game plan by Jim Chaney so far. Attack the inside runs with Nick Chubb, attack the outside with Sony Michel. Conventional running plays outside, like the toss sweep we saw 2 plays ago, now a little swing pass, and get those offensive linemen out in front of him too.
Ball on the 38-yard line. Still scoreless in Baton Rouge. And now Chubb, it's his turn. He's back as the running back for Georgia. And Kaylee, I know you talked to Kirby about Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator, moving upstairs to the booth.
Yeah, Brent, we may have found out about that move pretty shortly before kickoff, but Kirby Smart told me this decision was made, a mutually agreeable decision between he and Jim Chaney early in the week. They just thought it was an opportunity for a different perspective for Chaney throughout his career. He's called plays from upstairs, downstairs. With a struggling offense, they thought, why not try something new?
So far, pretty good. Much better running game than a week ago against Florida in that annual game in Jacksonville. Play action's a beauty. And complete to the outside. And that was Isaac Nata, the freshman.
And another big play coming off of the play action. The defense right now expecting Nick Chubb to get this. It's forcing him to freeze. Jacob Eason and Isaac Nata, they're roommates. They've developed a really good chemistry here, especially in the last 3 or 4 games. They've become a bigger part of this offense, and what a compliment they are to the running game right now.
First down. Picking up a couple of tough yards is Michel. Freshman tight end checks back in. Nada. Wims, who made that great catch in the first quarter, is off to the right. Second and long. One-on-one coverage with Wims. Draw play. And a loss of a yard. That was Jordan Jones again. And what a game number 34 is having. He's one of the Youngstown guys. That's where the Stoops family grew up.
So Brennan now sets up 3rd and long. You're inside the 30-yard line. You're right at about the 25. A good field goal spot for Blankenship. If you're Jacob Eason here, you cannot take a sack or a negative play. If it's not open downfield, throw it away and give your kicker its best opportunity.
For those of you watching Alabama and LSU, we welcome you briefly during that first quarter timeout. Here, Kentucky leads Georgia 14-10. This is Jacob Eason, Georgia's freshman quarterback, firing high and complete. That was intended for Ridley. Those of you who have been checking out Alabama, yes, it is Ridley's brother, younger brother. He's a freshman from Coconut Creek, Florida.
Georgia's had struggles early this year with kicks. William Ham was only 3 of 7, was benched. Rodrigo Blankenship, since then, 5 of 6, as long of about 45 yards. Getting close to that right about here.
Here's the 42-yard field goal attempt. Sails it through. We got a 1-point game. We've come to the half. Kentucky leads it by 1 point. Wow, what an afternoon in the SEC. Where do you see the highlights? And let's go there now. Dari Noka, Booger McFarland, and Chris Doring. A 1-point game here at the intermission. Kentucky 14, Georgia 13. The Kentucky defense holding Georgia to a couple of field goals on a couple of drives proves to be the difference as we welcome you back with Jesse Palmer. I'm Brent Musburger, and Jesse, one team runs for about 108, the other team for 100.
Yeah, both teams running the football. We knew that Kentucky was going to come out and set up in the Wildcat formation. We expected Georgia to commit to the run after only running it 15 times in their last game against the Florida Gators. The good news for the Georgia Bulldogs, they've had success running in the middle of the field. This graph is polar opposite to what's been happening this year for the Bulldog offense. They'll continue to attack the middle of that line of scrimmage with Chubb in the second half. The real big difference in this game so far is the muff punt by Isaiah McKenzie. That turnover, the only one in the game, that led to a touchdown by the Wildcats. Which defense can stop the run in the second half, I think determines who wins this game.
Kentucky, now one of the East leaders, has a 1-point advantage on Georgia as we get ready to start the second half. And Kaylee Hartong's down below, and Kaylee, I know you just spoke with Coach Smart.
I did, Brent. He says turnovers and tackles. That's how this 1-point game will be decided in the second half. He said for Nick Chubb and Sony Michel, those are the guys 27-1 who we want the ball in their hands. He said we've got to make Kentucky tackle them. But as long as they're getting positive runs, you will keep seeing them run the ball. They may not have had success with it a week ago, but the offensive game plan hasn't changed.
Well, Eason threw the ball 11 times, completed 6, 130 yards, and that one touchdown strike to McKenzie. Nick Chubb, who rushed for 59 yards, will open as the running back. Smacked, but he still manages to gain about 3 yards.
Well, and Jim Chaney, we thought, would commit to it, and he has. That's the 25th run on 36 total plays for this offense. The strength of the Georgia Bulldogs is their running backs. It is a deep and talented group. It's been that way for years at Georgia. These guys need to tote the rock. They get better as the game goes on.
2nd and 7. Toss to Chubb. Spins free of a tackle. Fumble! Kentucky pounces on it. Wildcat football. One of those second effort fumbles when you're struggling to get an extra yard, and Nick Chubb coughed it up. And that's a defensive back, Chris Westry, who's running with the football.
Josh Allen, number 41, the linebacker that forces this fumble. Watch Chubb, he's breaking a tackle, doesn't have great ball security. Allen forces the fumble, and there's Chris Westry to fall on it deep now in Georgia territory. 2 turnovers for the Georgia Bulldogs. Their defense now has got to be great in a sudden change situation. The last time there was a turnover, they gave up a touchdown. They got to play good right now with their backs against the wall.
Steven Johnson, the quarterback, with freshman Benjamin Snell as his running back. And Snell rushed for 32 yards in the first half. Boom Williams had a touchdown. So he's out there. And so by using that diamond formation, you can see that Boom got the first carry with the freshman right next to him. Jess, what offensive coordinator Eddie Grant, who's really a good young coach, what does he get out of that diamond formation? What is he searching for with that?
I think he gets predictable looks by Georgia's defense. He's run it a couple times to see how they're going to line up, and what Georgia has shown is press man coverage outside. One thing we haven't seen the Wildcats do yet is take a shot deep yet to Badette. If I were Grant, I would dial up that play out of the diamond formation.
Here's Williams, and good tackle by Smith, number 3.
So here's that critical down and a sudden change for your defense. Right back on the field after a turnover, an opportunity here to get a stop and minimize the bleeding. Force a long field goal try.
Tucker and Smart with the defensive signal. Three wide receivers to the left on this formation. Need to reach the 23-yard line for a first down. Steven Johnson, JC transfer, will take the snap. They come with the running play, and Boom is stopped well short of the first down. And let's see if he goes for the field goal. They're trotting onto the field. Field goal unit is coming out.
Very conservative play call by Eddie Grant, 3rd and long situation.
Austin McGinnis from Alabama, junior. This will be a 44-yard field goal attempt for Kentucky. He's already hit one 50-plus yarder this year from the right hash. Boom. And a penalty flag. If this is against Georgia, there would be a first down. Hang on.
Holding offense, number 87.
Instead,
It's a 10-yard penalty. Replay fourth down.
that was Conrad. Coach not very happy about this. And this will make it much more difficult for McGinnis.
If he hadn't have held Malcolm Parrish on the outside, I think Parrish might have blocked that.
it.
Yeah, he had a great jump on that. And C.J. Conrad can't afford certainly that kind of penalty.
So McKenzie will go back to the Georgia 10-yard line, making sure they got the right number of players on the field. And here's Grant McInnes to punt it away. High, headed for the end zone, touchback. Nick Chubb thrown for a loss. There's that player again, Jordan Jones.
I think Mark Stoops has done a lot, made a lot of executive decisions to help save his job. And this defense, probably the biggest reason why they've won 5 of the last 6. They're just so much more sound since Mark Stoops took over the play calling. And one of the biggest parts is run fits. Jordan Jones and these linebackers being where they're supposed to be, guys aligning the right way so they get more hats to the football and make tackles.
Blazevich, H-back, leading the way. Play action. Eason, far side and incomplete, intended for Riley Ridley. Third down.
It's a catch Riley Ridley has to make. It's not easy on the boundary. Great protection for the quarterback, so you don't come up with it. Now you're setting up 3rd and long. Beautiful pocket because of the play action. He has an opportunity to catch that and maybe turn upfield for more yardage. Now setting up the 3rd and very long. Against a defense that's not afraid to bring pressure.
Sonny Michel alongside Eason. Going to give it to Michel, but this is not going to give him a first down. Out of bounds, that's Westry, the defensive back, and Georgia forced to punt.
I talked about Georgia's issues punting the ball this year, last in the SEC in net punting, and they're kicking off to a guy, Charles Walker, who's been dangerous this year returning. He's a walk-on, but took a punt back against New Mexico State for a score earlier in the season. Right here, if you're Marshall Long, you got to get some hang time and allow your coverage unit get downfield.
Fair catch made at the 44-yard line by Walker. So we'll take a break. Kentucky holding a 1-point lead over Georgia. If Kentucky wins, they're all alone in first in the East. John Madden, Seattle Slew, Bill Walton, Reggie Jackson. What do they have in common? They've all performed greatly in 1977. Rocky won the Best Picture. All the President's Men finished second. Redford and Hoffman. Bill Murray joining the cast of Saturday Night Live. And folks, that's the last time, the last year that Kentucky won 4 consecutive SEC games, and they will accomplish that tonight with a win. Incomplete pass on the sideline. So as you take a look, Fran Kersey was the coach, and with a win tonight, they'll also be bowl eligible. That'll be the first time that Mark Stoops has had a team bowl eligible. First winning season, 77 in the SEC. Snell checks in with the Wildcat here on 2nd down and 10, and he'll carry it straight ahead. Big hole, and the freshman bolts to the 30-yard line.
They have so many different plays they can run out of this Wildcat package. Power, counter, zone, jet sweeps. They've got a check with me situation. See the high end, so this is going to be zone blocking by this offensive line, and a nice job with the patience by Snell. Finding that crease and getting north-south.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 24 of the defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. It's an automatic first down.
That's Dominic
That's
Sanders.
number 24's first unsportsmanlike conduct of the game.
A junior, probably should know better than this. On 1st and 10. And Snell breaks a tackle and leaps. He's out of bounds right about the 1-yard line. It's being marked. What an electric freshman is Benny Snell.
And they missed a hold, I think, on this play, Brent. I think C.J. Conrad held on the outside. That's what allowed Benny Snell to get the edge. Nonetheless, Kentucky having success trying to attack outside when running this Wildcat.
Now they spread the field for the Wildcat. The defense has to account for those 3 receivers. And they stone Snell for no gain, 2nd and goal.
So many 315-pound bodies in the front 7 for Georgia as a Georgia defender comes up with the football after Snell went to the ground. It was Bellamy, number 17, that looked like he was very close to ripping that football out before potentially Snell was down.
They expect Snell to run, and he does. And he powers his way toward the goal line. No signal.
And Brent, on that time, I thought there was a false start penalty by Kentucky. I thought the right tackle, Kyle Meadows, went early. See right there? He's already out of his stance before Toth snaps the ball. I thought this referee crew missed a holding penalty earlier. But there was just a little bit of a flinch right before the snap.
Touchdown.
And it's an 8-point lead. So remember when the official was spotting the ball? He couldn't believe it. Upstairs, the replay official, Al Ford, took a look and said, yes, he did cross that goal line. So Benny Snell's 10th touchdown, and that broke the Kentucky record for the most total touchdowns by a freshman, Randall Cobb. Remember that name, Randall. Now with the Green Bay Packers scored 9 touchdowns as a freshman here. Meanwhile, in Baton Rouge, Alabama has a 1st and goal on a long pass, and they're threatening to score for the first time. 1st down and 10 for Jacob Eason. Michelle is the running back. Breaks to daylight.
Another example, Brent, of Georgia having success up the middle. They get a good double team block. Lamont Gaillard right here getting a bump, helping out on the nose guard Pringle with the center, and then climbing into the 2nd level, trying to get a hat on the linebacker Jones. That's a good job. Clearing up those spaces for Sony Michel and Nick Chubb.
38-yard line after that run. There's the play action. Going to go deep. Battle for the ball. Incomplete. That was terrific work in that secondary by Batty.
And another example of an underthrown deep ball by Jacob Eason. I thought he had Wims here on the double move go, but you see how Wims has to come back because of the underthrow, and there's Beatty, the 6'3" corner with long arms. He's able to knock that away. I love the play call by Jim Chaney. Just has to be better executed on the deep ball. That's one place that I think Eason really needs to improve moving forward.
2nd and 10. Eason with time. Incomplete. That was Ridley working across the field, couldn't hang on.
That's his 2nd drop in this game, Brent. The true freshman. He's very talented. I think he's going to be a really good player one day, but he's having issues right now handling the football. And 2 blown opportunities for the Bulldogs. They decide to be aggressive after the turnover, throwing it twice. Now setting up 3rd and long.
Michelle checks in. He's the running back. Basically the same pattern, but this time it is complete to Reggie Davis working across, and that's J.D. Harmon, who has been J.D. on the spot for the Wildcats all night long.
This is kind of no man's land if you're Kirby Smart, because it's going to be a real long field goal if he decides to do that. It looks like he's going to want to go for this. Ball at about the 33 and a half yard line, and oh no, they are going for a field goal. He's got Blankenship out there. I'm watching all the short yardage guys run on the field. Jacob Eason, he doesn't leave because he's the holder.
Got the Clark Kent look working from the right hash. Curling and good. A 49-yard field goal by Blankenship. So Kirby Smart shows you why you kick field goals. And now it's a 5-point difference.
Little Jenga.
Building block games. Meanwhile, inside Commonwealth Stadium, crowd excited. But many of them here in the Bluegrass country are watching the end of the Classic on the big board. California Chrome on the lead. Watch this third place horse. Watch Arrogate now on the move, trained by Bob Baffert. And watch the jock on California Chrome as he makes this turn. He's going to check back to see if he's got trouble in the stretch. And then comes one of the great finishes ever. Diving down low to try and get a hole. And we're away with a kickoff. Trust me, Allegar won the race. And here's Bedette coming up. Big hole, and Bedette is out to the 23-yard line. Let's check. And there's Boom Williams, and he is stopped immediately by Reggie Carter.
That's the end of the third quarter.
So we've come to the end of the third quarter. If Kentucky can hang on, they'll be in first in the East. If Georgia rallies, they'll stop the bleeding. Johnny Hibbett, the injured umpire, back on the field. He was there on the right of your screen. Johnson, and there's a penalty flag falling on.
Oh, the ball came out, Brent.
Just come out. Toth is there. So John Toth was on it. Let me check myself. It was a football coming free, and it was not a flag.
Julian Rochester, the true freshman defensive end, just ran right through the right tackle, Georgia Sapo Ajay, and right into Steven Johnson. I don't think Steven Johnson's arm was coming forward. That was a fumble.
And
Toth heads up play.
He's the senior center from Indianapolis, and he's a good one. But it'll make it 3rd and 19 for Kentucky. Johnson fires in underneath to Timmons, his second catch of the night, and there's a penalty flag. Parrish made a quick stop on Timmons.
Personal foul, block below the waist, number 71. That penalty is declined. It's 4th down.
That's Stenberg.
Whenever you went back. Okay.
You can't cut block going back towards your own end. And that's why Kentucky's offensive lineman was called for that. They just have not been able to find a real rhythm here since the second half of the third quarter. And Georgia's going to have great field possession.
They've got McKenzie standing now on the Kentucky 48. He knows that McInnes has struggled. Runs up and got it at the 47. And he's wrestled down at the 41. Great field position. Coming up for Jacob Eason and the Dogs. On a first down, Eason play action. Fires to the outside, incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10. By the way, Dory, I hope you get to do a game up here at this Kentucky booth, because it is really good. One of the best in the country. Play action now. Eason fires, got a man wide open, and now breaks a tackle. There is that tight end of the future, folks. Down to the 26-yard line. He is gonna be a dandy.
And here's a fantastic job this time by Jacob Eason, throwing with anticipation. Watch when he lets this ball go, not his head's not turned around. That's a perfect example. Puts it right on the face mask of his roommate.
Just what you were looking for from him. First down and 10. We got 3 receivers out wide. Michelle alongside. Offensive line gives him enough time. Might have overthrown his man. He did. Godwin couldn't catch up with that. And he's working against Westbury, a dandy back there.
Georgia's come out throwing the football. Kentucky now defensively has to find a way to put pressure on Jacob Eason and disrupt his timing. Obviously, the game plan for the Wildcats and Mark Stoops earlier was stop the run, be physical. But Georgia's now kind of trying to open the game up a little bit by throwing it. Mark Stoops is going to have to dial up some pressures, and some of these D linemen are going to have to win one-on-one, get in the backfield.
McKenzie's dangerous in the slot, and he's off to the right. Second down and 10. They'll run Michelle in that direction. Michelle to the 15, turns the corner, dives for the pylon. Touchdown, Georgia. What a run by Sony Michelle.
What an effort by Michelle, the speed, getting outside. Running outside around the cornerback bait. He's able to stay in bounds and extend the football to the pylon. The drive started with pass plays, and Sony Michel pays it off. And again, give Georgia offensive coordinator Jim Chaney credit because he stayed committed to the run. 65 plays, 38 runs.
They're going to go for 2. Leading it by 1. They figure 2 is basically dead money. So they're going to go for 2 points here. Chubb will be the running back. Eason to throw, and good. And that is Isaac Nada, who had the big catch to keep this drive going. And now that puts Georgia up by 3. Terrific management here by Georgia.
Well, it started with the touchdown, going to Sony Michel, running outside. Great blocking downfield by the wide receivers on that play, by the way. And then on the 2-point play, little pick action. Blazevich getting a pick on a linebacker opens up Nada.
24-21. Oh, there is Nada, tight end on the right. And Michel finished it off with that brilliant run and dive for the pylon, showing you his great athletic ability. And then Kirby Smart dials up the 2-point play, and they sit on a 3 right now. And the heat's on Kentucky if they want to be the leader in the East. They've got 9:12 to go. All 3 timeouts. They got their big play wide receiver, Jeff Baudette, back on the goal line. This will come out on the 25-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for Steven Johnson. And now we'll see what Eddie Grant, a very talented offensive coordinator, who came here from Cincinnati prior to this season. We'll see what he can dial up. They're going to open with the Wildcat. And Snell, you know, for some of our viewers out there are old enough like me to remember the great Super Bowl triumph of the New York Jets. Matt Snell. Yes, Benny and Matt are related. So he's got some great genes. And I don't mean his pants. Second down and 6. Johnson will take this snap. Stands tall. Hit on the release, however. They have waited too long just to throw it.
Well, yeah, Bellamy out there working against the left tackle. He beat him really bad. Bellamy's really long. 6'5", 240 pounds. He's working against the left tackle. It's the true freshman, Landon Young, and he got all in Steven Johnson's business. Now setting up 3rd down. Remember, there's that true freshman left tackle. Cole Mosier's hurt. He's normally the starter, and this guy is going to be a really good player down the road. He was a huge recruit, but he's dealing with a lot of athleticism outside right now. Looks like Lorenzo Carter.
So Mosier got injury telling. They give the youngster help, and a great grab by Baker, Dorian Baker.
6'3" with a huge catch radius, and just climbs the ladder over top of Malcolm Parrish to make this catch.
A 24-yard gain on that grab by number 2 moves the ball into Georgia territory. Ball on the 47-yard line. They go back to the Wildcat with Snell. Here's Snell running right straight ahead behind Haynes, Toth, and Stallings.
You know, another wrinkle, Brent, that Eddie Gran has in this Wildcat package too is they can motion quarterback Steven Johnson back into quarterback to throw it, or they can reverse to Steven Johnson and let him throw it downfield too. They've shown that in games this year. They've hit explosive plays.
So they split out the receiver wide. They use the Wildcat Snell, motion Timmons, Snell again. Could not, I believe, get the first down. There was a penalty on the play, however, so let's hold on a second.
Sideline interference on Georgia. 5-yard penalty is added on to the end of the run. First down.
So the Dogs sideline with a mistake. And that ball is going to be spotted on the 33. They go back to the Wildcat formation, moving the ball with it. Snell steps off to the right, slips a tackle, and picks up 7 yards on that run.
You know, he's a guy that just gets better as the game goes on too. He had 38 carries last week against Missouri, and watching that film, there was a point where he ran the ball 7 straight times on 7 consecutive plays and never seemed to get tired. Here we are in the 4th quarter, the game wearing down, and he doesn't look like he's wearing down. They're just leaving him in there right now in the Wildcat.
You know, you would think that we're watching the rebirth of the single wing. I don't see any spinner moves here yet, but stay tuned. 2nd and 3, here he comes. He was jammed up that time. It's going to be 3rd down, and Rochester, Julian Rochester, has a terrific future for the Dogs. One of the freshman defensive linemen stood tall on him. He's from Powder Springs, Georgia.
In this situation, you know, why would you get out of the Wildcat? You've had the success running between the tackles with Snell. It's just so rare to see a true freshman running back have the conditioning that this guy has. So many running backs come out of the game after their 3rd consecutive carry. He's been in there the entire time.
3rd down and 2. Hit in the backfield. Breaks a tackle. Oh, mercy. What strength by the young man. I thought he was going to be thrown for a 2-yard loss.
Yeah, it looked like Bellamy, number 17 for Georgia, was going to make this play in the backfield, but just great balance by the true freshman back. Low to the ground, keeps his shoulder pads level, and then leaps forward, understanding where that 1st down marker was. Simply remarkable. And again, Brent, look, not taking him out. He's back lined up in the Wildcat. He's not breathing heavy. I don't know how he does it.
It's on the Dogs' 22-yard line. That right side of that offensive line, Stallings and Meadows are doing some job blowing holes open for Mr. Snell. One thing I've got to say about Eddie Gran, and other play callers should take note, when something's working, don't get off it. Make the other team stop you before you say don't do it anymore. 2nd down and 4. Another 1st down. A remarkable effort here by number 26.
Julian Rochester, number 5, he's holding his point. Snell's just kind of fighting through D-line, and he's fighting through O-line. And they're just, and Eddie Gran's not taking him out. He's not changing it. you don't ever see this. You don't see this in college. You don't see this in pro football. Running backs that can play this many snaps and carries consecutively.
So here's the Wildcat again. There's a surprise.
See if that timeout by Kirby Smart helped give his defense a break to be a little bit more stout here.
11th play of this drive coming. Snap it to him. Just blocked. 8-yard line, 2nd down and goal. Also what's happening on this drive is that Kentucky basically is killing the clock with it.
Trying to get an opportunity. You see Mark Stoops telling him just kind of take your time, get a score, and leave Jacob Eason with as little time as possible late.
He's very confident at the very worst he'll get a tie here. Obviously he wants a touchdown to take the lead. 2nd down and goal. Snell ready. Looks to the left. And he is stopped short of the 5-yard line. So now a big 3rd down. David Marshall. We've mentioned Marshall and Rochester. Terrific futures for the Dogs.
This is where Georgia has been poor all year. Red zone defense coming into the game, allowing 73% of their opponents' drives to score touchdowns. Tonight so far, Kentucky's been 3 for 3. 3 drives in the red zone, 3 touchdowns. The Georgia Bulldog defense here needs to force a field goal opportunity.
Here's your 3rd down and goal. 2:55 to go, trailing by 3. Lob, jump ball incomplete. And that was great play by Parrish against Baker.
Yeah, great coverage by Parrish on that play. He's 5 inches shorter. Steven Johnson looking for the fade jump ball. Parrish just kind of walls him out like a basketball player, but he's got his face turned to the football trying to locate it. There's the first real good stand by the Georgia defense in their own red zone.
So here's Austin McGinnis on for the tying effort. And we are deadlocked with 2:47 remaining. Meanwhile, Alabama still leads LSU 7-0, but Bama has rolled to the LSU 5-yard line. Well, we welcome you back, and there was quite a card show put on here during the game. This, of course, is earlier. And then they flashed it. The result, it was a thing of beauty. Go Big Blue. Hardman is in as the return man, standing on the goal line. Out on the 25. First down, play action. Not much doing on that. He threw it to tight end, and McWilson made the stop on Nada. Second down and 9. Deadlocked at 24. 2 minutes and 15 seconds left in regulation. Another play action throw, and they've got the first down with Wims. Wims is emerging, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. And it's been funny watching the play calling by Chaney, because after having so much success early in the game running the football, here in the second half, they've really opened it up, throwing it to the perimeter of the field. And you're right, Brent, it's been number 6 Wims. It's been on the receiving end of these targets from Eason more often than not.
Ball out the 39-yard line. Check with the sideline.
Kentucky loading the box to stop the run. Those one-on-one opportunities are there outside.
They do run Chubb for a couple of tough yards.
Nick Chubb's now got to be careful, though, with the ball security. He's already fumbled twice in this game, so especially on this drive when he's in there, 2 hands on the ball. Goes without saying, cannot afford a turnover here in your own end, tied late in this game.
Blankenship warming up. Play action. Firing back and hitting his favorite target again.
And Jacob Eason's proven that he can be clutch late in games throwing the football. He's earned the right, certainly, to throw it in this type of scenario to need to win this game. He's got phenomenal poise for a true freshman, and right now he's methodically moving Georgia into an opportunity to kick a field goal. And they're taking their time at the line of scrimmage. Looks like they're going to give Blankenship an opportunity to win this with a little time left on the game clock.
At the Kentucky 46-yard line. Play action. Quick hit to Godwin. And they're picking up huge yards for their field goal kicker.
Well, and that's where it's nice to have Jacob Eason's cannon for an arm. This is a wide field hitch throw. There's a cornerback out there, Beatty. If that's not thrown on a rope, that's a pick six. Not many quarterbacks in college football can even complete or attempt that throw.
Alabama kicked a field goal. They lead LSU 10-0 with 2:41 remaining in Baton Rouge. And here Michelle for the Dogs crosses that 30-yard line, getting ever closer. Now, of course, Kentucky must use even more timeouts. Try to preserve what they've got left of this clock. They don't want it running completely out if they can avoid it.
A lot of the Georgia's play calling offensively, meanwhile, I think will be designed towards centering the football for Blankenship on a field goal, so expect runs up the middle.
2nd down and 8. And Michelle does that, but he breaks a big tackle, and it is a 1st down across the 15-yard line.
Wow. Just nice balance on this drive. You know, I've been impressed watching Sony Michel's, the power he's demonstrated. He's been able to break some tackles running between this Kentucky defensive line. Certainly we've seen his speed on the outside as well, and Mark Stoops wants his defense to be ripping at the football here.
Michelle crosses that 10-yard line.
And a really nice job by Michelle cutting north. Right when he got to the middle of the field, I think his initial instinct told him to keep running towards the sideline, but he knew he had to center the football for his kicker. A very, very mature play by the veteran junior running back in Sony Michel.
So it'll all come down now to the young man from Marietta.
Time out of the half.
Rodrigo
30
Blankenship.
seconds.
For the season with the 3 tonight. He is 8 of
Clock
9.
operator, please put 3 seconds on the clock, please.
There you can see the importance of this game. Kentucky and Florida both 4-2. Georgia's down there at 2-4. South Carolina with a win today. They're 3-4 in the East. Kentucky and Tennessee meet next week, and South Carolina goes down to Florida.
Yeah, there's still a lot of football left, Brent. Even if Kentucky were to lose this game here today, that doesn't mean the SEC championship game is out by any stretch. Florida's still 2 tough games left against South Carolina and LSU. But a big kick here for Georgia and their bowl hopes, no doubt.
This is for the ball game. Georgia wins it.
Flag.
And a flag is down, so hang on. They're trying to get the players back off the field.
I think it's going to be leaping on Kentucky. I think J.D. Harmon went jumping way over top of some blockers and made contact.
Personal foul, number 11,
That's
leaping.
him.
That penalty is declined. Field goal is good. Game is over.
27-24. Georgia rallies in the second half. They score 11 points in the 4th quarter. They hold the Wildcats to 1 field goal, and a huge win for Kirby Smart, who had his offensive coordinator upstairs for the first time this season, Jim Chaney. Kirby is with Kaylee, so let's go to them now.
Great job. The kids played hard.
Coach, you get the ball, a tie game at the end there. What was your approach through that last drive? Talk me through it.
Cool and calm. Relax.
Ended with
Don't
a leaping
panic.
foul.
Give us a chance to win, but don't give them a chance to win. And that's what happened. And we got a damn good field goal kicker right there.
A week ago, your talented running backs couldn't run the ball. What was the difference for Nick Chubb and Sony Michel's success tonight?
I think an attitude, an attitude adjustment. If we got to run the ball, we got to be physical. We simplified some things and helped out. Didn't tackle real good on defense, but played well.
And you sent your offensive coordinator, Jim Chaney, upstairs for the first time this season. What impact did that have on your offense?
Well, I think he's able to call the game maybe better up there. He's able to relax, see things in a normal environment, not have to deal with all the moving around. I don't know if it helped it or not.
One win in your previous 5 games. You asked everybody on this staff for more energy, more juice to push through this tough stretch. Where did it come from this week? Who brought it?
Everybody. The players brought it, the strength staff brought it, the training staff brought it, everybody did. And everybody bought into helping the kids have some energy and juice. And I'm just so happy for these kids because they worked so hard.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
SEC Now is next. Dari Noka, Booger McFarland, and Chris Doran. Take it away, Dar. Big win for the Tide.